was almost 2 a.m. Groggy, my eyes opened and I saw it there, staring at me.
Welcome and welcome back, everybody. T here, and in today's video, I'll be doing a solo playthrough of Shades of Ink, an 18-card RPG wallet game from designer Jay Yeats. During the playthrough, I'll give a tutorial about how the game is played, and be sure you stick around for the end of the video where I share my thoughts about the game and experience overall. Without further ado, let's get started.
So here's a game of Shades of Ink set up and ready to play. Over the course of the game, we'll be playing as a character who is taking down observations and collecting data on these ethereal creatures called shades. Throughout the game, we'll be progressing through various encounters and unlocking abilities to be able to use cards in our hands to defeat or capture shades. This will all coalesce in a final encounter where we'll reveal the shade's final form, as well as see if we can defeat it or will we perish. So for setup, I started by placing out our character sheet. At the top of the character sheet, we're going to set the background. I took the liberty of doing that ahead of time, so I'm going to read it out now. Dear entry, dated November 2022. Discovered a series of ink blots belonging to her. Their notes indicate the ink has power and the blots are shades that feed somehow on the viewer's psychic energy. At first I was confused and skeptical, but now I'm focused and determined. I only hope I'm not too late. I thought it would be interesting for this playthrough to pretend as though we found an old journal of maybe a partner or someone we were very close to. And we discovered their writings and drawings of these various shades, which at first we weren't sure if we really believed them, if perhaps they were going through some sort of mental break, but now our only goal is to find them and uncover the mystery. So for the rest of setup, we are going to shuffle up the encounter deck and draw 6 cards. 4 of them we'll keep to form our starting hand. The other 2 will be discarded. The coordinates on these cards will show the starting and ending point for the final form of our shade. And in addition to that, we're going to choose an ability that pairs well with the cards. So for the setup here today, I chose the study ability, which has us play 1 yellow time card and then a card of a different type. So either a blue vision card or a red humanity card. And then we get to destroy an encounter of the other type. As you can see, I had a lot of options for these yellow cards, so I figured that might be a good point to start. Whereas pinpoint and slam require me to have 2 of the same of blue cards or 2 of the same red cards, which might be a little bit tricky to get since our cards will be played in random order. So that's all we need to do for setup. Now we're ready to jump into our first encounter. To set up an encounter, we're going to draw the top 2 cards of the encounter deck and overlap them like such. We're first going to mark down a point on our grid based on the coordinates provided. So we have a red 5 and a yellow 6. So I'm going to go ahead and mark that down. Red 5, yellow 6, we're all the way out here. And we're going to mirror that on both sides of our chart. Then we're going to connect it to the previously drawn dot. In this case, we have our starting point, which is the highest dot on here. So we're just going to do something like that and another line here. Then we're going to read the prompt provided by the encounter. So we have like a shapeless mass of dreams. Can it even feel restless? So we're going to make an observation about the shape of the shade based on that prompt. So a shapeless mass of dreams. Maybe something about it starting to be very foggy and then coming clearer into focus during a restless night. Maybe we can't sleep because we're thinking of this partner and wondering where they've gone and we've just discovered this journal. So for observation, I'm going to write, it was almost 2 a.m. Groggy, my eyes opened and I saw it there, staring at me. Almost looks like a pair of eyes here looking at us. I'm going to leave it at that, and then we'll chart our results at the end of the encounter. So the next thing we're going to do is shuffle up our hand, and we'll be playing cards, like I said, in order to see how we go. All right, so here is the order of our hand. As you can see, we unfortunately can't destroy a blue card in the encounter because we don't have one, but these yellow and red cards will trigger the study ability. We destroy a card of the different type, which is this red humanity card. So I'm going to place that over here. Anytime we destroy a card, we're also going to be able to mark off one of the new abilities down here or work towards unlocking one of them. Just right off the bat, I really like the look of Unify because we do have at least one of each card type represented. It might be tricky to get them in that exact order. So maybe we'll work on Prepare first, but I'm not sure. This card would allow, or Prepare would allow us to reorder our hand. And it would be tricky to get them in this order if not. What are the chances that we would get Vision, Human, and a card? Maybe we'll try to be a little more cautious and work towards unlocking Prepare. All right, now we have one final card left in our encounter. However, I don't have the cards required or the abilities required to defeat or capture it. So if I thought that I might have a chance of doing that, I could deplete one of my stamina for a second wind, which would let me reshuffle and replay cards. But since there's no possibility of that, this card is going to go into the discard pile, and it is going to detract one stamina from our health report. So for our encounter log, I'm going to write, I caught a glimpse, but I'm still so unsure. I think that fits with, we destroyed one of them, but we still took a stamina for the other. For our next encounter, we have a blue 3 and a red 2. I'm going to go ahead and mark down those coordinates. Again, blue 3, red 2. And you can just make these very angular. I'm doing this in pencil on here because what I like to go back and do is rework them and make them feel a little bit more organic, like the shapes here, instead of having hard angles. So we'll be seeing that in a little bit. Okay, our prompt says, it hungers for fire. Does it enjoy being forgetful? So maybe I can write something about fire. Kind of makes me think of like passion, maybe previous memories of this partner, and does it enjoy being forgetful? Maybe about things that have been long past, observations. So I wrote, it reminds me of the time we first met. Even then, she hinted, but I hadn't listened. And now we have our cards, which we're going to shuffle up, and we'll see what order we get. It'd be really great if we could destroy some more cards and get another ability unlocked. Okay, so here's our hand. Ooh, okay. We're going to play a yellow and a blue, which allows us to destroy this blue card. We're going to continue on with our Prepare action prep. And then we have a yellow and a red card, which lets us destroy this one, which allows us to fully unlock the Prepare action, which is great. And here for the results, I think we can have some sort of resignation of the fact that we should have done better, but now we've learned from our mistakes. And next we have another encounter. So we have red 1 and blue 6. Okay, so red 1, blue 6. I have to say that the, this is like right where we were before. The actual artwork on these cards is so evocative. I believe that Jay Yeats, the designer, also did the artwork, which is just absolutely stunning. So cool. All right, and our prompt, the only thing it needs is memories. Why does this need leave it amused? Ooh, okay, this goes with what we just said. So I really like this idea that the memories aspect is playing off of what we had just written with the memory of when we first met and going back through trying to search for any clues, any details, things that we missed out on. Maybe it's amused at our confusion and at our lack of knowledge. This red, the shapes kind of almost remind me of like a little bit of like a clown type of character or something. Maybe it's laughing at us or mocking us in some way. So for the observations, I'm going to write, never before had I found joy to be so terrifying. Okay, so now we have our Prepare and our Study ability. So we'll have some more flexibility with that. But if we can destroy both cards, that'll be awesome. So here we go. Ooh, unfortunately, this is not quite the right order. So I think what we want to do is, we have to play them in order. So we have this, we have our yellow card and then a blue card. We can destroy this blue card here, which gives us another ability. Now, I think this is a good time to try to go for that Unify action so we can start capturing cards to build out our hand and get more flexibility. And then I have a yellow card, which doesn't let me reorder anything because I have no cards in my hand. So now the question is, do we want to use a second wind ability to see if we can get rid of this card as well? or do we just want to take the hit? I think we're going to use a second wind ability. So we're going to take all the cards back into our hand, along with any cards that we still have remaining in our hand, and shuffle them up. Okay, here we go. All right, yes. So now we can destroy this card using the study ability, which gives us another ability point towards unlocking the unify action. And for our results, I think we'll write, even so, I must remain in the present and press on. Okay, our next encounter, we have a red 4 and a red 3. We'll go ahead and set that out. Red 4, red 3. So we're going to be right over here. There, and red 4, red 3. Now we're like coming back a little bit. Interesting. All right. And our prompt reads, it wants you to bring it embers. If you don't, will it become stressed? So this kind of goes back to the idea of fire and passion. So maybe it can sense like how we're feeling, how we're longing for this person that we missed. For our observation, I think we'll write something like, when I think of her, I feel it growing stronger. But how could I erase her from my thoughts? We have 2 red cards that we're going to try to defeat. So maybe we can defeat one of them. Maybe use like a second wind to get that unify action. Okay, so yeah, we can defeat one red card using this first study, which lets us unlock our unify action. Then we have this blue card left. So I think what we might want to do is we could capture this card if we use unify and get these in the right order, which would be great. Using second wind also marks us to our 3rd stamina point, which will give us another ability point. And I think we would want to get rid of something that allows us to capture cards. Okay. So this card lets us capture, but it's equal to the sum of our blue card and another card, which our blue card is quite high. So that won't really work. But if we have grapple and we get this card, if we have a card between them, then we can capture that card. So I think we're going to work towards grapple and hope that we can get this card into our hand using those actions. So I'm going to go ahead and shuffle up for our second wind. And this is what we have. Okay, so unfortunately with study or with prepare, I can play one and move this here, but it doesn't, unfortunately, get us in the exact right order for unify. So very sadly, we're just going to have to do another study action and destroy this card. But that does get us closer to achieving grapple, which unfortunately isn't helpful because we don't have a second one of these cards yet. Maybe that was a mistake to go in that order. We'll see. Observations and for our results, maybe we've been successful in concealing our thoughts from the shade. So I wrote just a moment of clarity. Our next encounter is blue 1, yellow 3. So let's go ahead and chart that down on our map. The blue 1, yellow 3. Going all the way back up here to the top. Blue 1, yellow 3, all the way back up to the top. Okay. And the text on the cards says it has eyes of rage, but why are they so silent? So perhaps it's enraged at the success that we had of blocking her from our memories. The journal entry said that it fed off of psychic energy. So maybe part of that energy is thoughts of like loved ones. And this almost looks like eyes as well. So maybe we'll say something about like anger and sadness, but quietly brooding in the background. We have, why does it seem sad? The silence of its anger leaves me feeling unsettled. We're going to go ahead and shuffle up our cards. All right, so here's what we have. Do we have Unify or potential to play Unify? No, unfortunately, we don't. But we can get rid of this blue card here, like so, with the study action, which allows us to unlock an ability. Do I want to go for grapple? But I don't have another red card is the thing. So that's really frustrating. If we use diversify, I can capture a different card, but destroy a card in my hand. I can play 3 cards in ascending order. I have a 1, 2 4s, and a 6, which is not great, but I can destroy 2 encounter cards that way. If I get these two for calculate, I could potentially capture some 5s, but that's not great either. I think I'm just going to fully unlock grapple and hope that we get a red card soon, because I would be too far away from unlocking dominate anyways at this point. And then we have yellow, which I can't do anything with unless I get the unify action. But I think that's probably too risky to lose a health and then potentially lose a health if I can't defeat this card. So I think we're just going to discard it and remove one of our stamina for the time being, unfortunately. We have, in the absence of sound, I feel my thoughts slipping back towards her. And it looks like our last 2-card encounter, we have a blue 2 and a yellow 2. So we're going to go ahead and set those out here. Blue 2, yellow 2. We're right kind of just back where we just were. Okay. Tiny little lines there. And our prompt reads, it dances on a surface of electricity. Why are its movements so relaxed? So perhaps it's gaining momentum. It feels our mental faculties waning. So maybe something about it feeling invigorated. This energy is unreal. Even the slightest thought has fully energized it. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and shuffle up our cards. We haven't captured any other cards, which is a little bit unfortunate. So we'll see how that goes, because the next encounters will have 3 cards each. Here's our hand. Again, unfortunately, we don't have the ability to do the unify action. We can get rid of this blue card. So I suppose we'll do that, which gives us another point towards something else. Do we want to go for dominate? I think, unfortunately, that might be our only option unless we want to capture 5s, but I don't know how many 5s there are. I guess we did have some 5s here. Or do I want to do diversify? I think we have to start going for dominate. Here we're in the same predicament as last time, unfortunately. If we do lose 2 stamina, we would get another point towards that. I don't know that having 2 yellow cards actually would help, because it would allow us to use prepare more. So I think we're going to do something risky and do a second wind to see if we can get that unify action and take that card into our hand. And we would capture 1 encounter card and destroy the next. So we would get to capture 1 first. So we have yellow, red, blue. Oh, okay. So we can use this yellow card for the prepare action, which allows us to move 1 card in our hand to any position. And we move this blue vision card to the front. And then we have blue, red, yellow for unify, which lets us capture this card. It immediately gets added to the rightmost spot of our hand, but there are no cards left to interact with. So we're going to write down our observations here. I think we'll say something along the lines of, I think we'll say, luckily, I'm stronger now than before. All right, we've gone through the first round of the encounter deck. So next we're going to shuffle up the discarded cards and draw an encounter of 3 cards. That'll be tricky. And since we only have 4 cards, this will be our final one before the last encounter. We have yellow, yellow, blue. Ooh, that's not great because I can't get a red card. Oh, no. Okay, so we're going to use the coordinates from the leftmost 2 cards. So we have yellow 6, yellow 3. I'm going to mark that down really quickly. So yellow 6, yellow 3, all the way down at the bottom. And we're going to just connect that down here. And over here. All right, this is a really interesting, like very focused on the top sections of this. And our prompt says, its breath reminds you of sinew. Why would that stop you being pensive? So it's got rotting breath and it's stopping us from being too thoughtful. Maybe that like works in our favor a little bit because we don't want to be thinking of her. We want to focus on staying present with this creature. So I wrote a mistake. Its putrid nature only draws me out of my own mind and closer to it. We'll see if we can actually be successful though with our resolution of the encounter. Little tricky because we have 3 cards. I could probably destroy the blue, and maybe if we get unify, I could destroy one of the yellow and capture 1. But again, that doesn't set up our hand for really great success for the last round. We have yellow, yellow, red, yellow, blue. If we want to capture, I'd have to move this here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that to go there. And then I'm going to just discard that instead of using the study action because I want to trigger unify. So we have blue, red, yellow. I capture one encounter card and destroy the next. So I think we want to capture this blue card since we don't have a lot of blue. Or do I want to capture another yellow so I have more flexibility with study and prepare? I think I want the blue card. And we destroy this one, which gives us an ability towards dominate. And also that blue card, oh, that blue card is a 6. It might have been, or a 5. It might have been nice. Oh, we don't have a 5 already, so that could help us with the dominate action. And then I have this card left here. There's no way that I can destroy it, but if we discard it and get the stamina here, we will finally unlock the dominate action, which could help us in the final encounter. So now what we're going to do is we're going to connect our dots to the final point here to reveal the final form. All right, and what I like to do, I might do this off camera here really quickly, is make the shapes a little bit more, like I said before, organic, so it looks more akin to something that we see on these cards. So I'm gonna go ahead and take the liberty of doing that really quickly, and I'll be right back. Okay, so now we have our final form charted out. We're gonna make an observation about the final shade. I think we'll say something about these almost, again, like face, like an expression of sadness. Maybe something along the lines of this final shade reminds us of our partner and we wonder if she's like been consumed by her thoughts of it or somehow, or in some way has been assimilated into this creature. So observation. I'm just going to write, have I found her? And we'll chart our final result. These are going to go off to the side. And then we're going to place out all of our previously destroyed cards for the final encounter. We have quite a lot, so I'm not sure that this will be very successful. But here are the cards that we have. Perhaps we can capture some cards and keep our hand going. We also do have a lot of room to use second winds here, which is great. So I am tentatively not completely in despair about the outcome for this playthrough. All right, so I'm gonna shuffle up our hand for the final encounter, and maybe we'll get lucky and get some really good combos. What do we have? Interesting. Okay, so we do have this set up down here. First, we're gonna go ahead and discard that. We'll take a study action to destroy a blue card. Let's destroy a high blue card because in case we can capture any low blue cards, we might be able to get calculate or something like that. So do I want to start working towards that now is the question. Or pinpoint would be good because we can destroy a card equal to either one in terms of values. We have a 4 and a 5. There's only 1 4 and 1 5 out here though, but I think we need to work towards calculate so we can capture more cards because this hand is going to run out very quickly. And then we have unify, so blue, red, yellow here. So we get to capture one encounter card and destroy the next. I think I'm going to go ahead and capture a red card that goes immediately into our hand, but we can't play it on its own. And we can destroy another card. Let's leave the 5s and the 6s and get rid of this yellow card, or maybe, or the 4 and this 5 we want to keep. But we already have 1s and 2s here as well, so maybe we want to get rid of a lower blue card. Oh, we want low blue cards, so we can get rid of the 5 red, I think. Okay. Or our cards in ascending order, and we already have some 5s. So yeah, our most frequent number is 1, but we want to keep that blue one in case we get calculate. So I'll destroy that one. So that'll let us fill out another point towards calculate. We are, of course, going to use a second wind because we cannot win if all of these cards are out here. That would completely deplete our stamina. So we're going to shuffle up our hand again and see what we get. It would be really cool if we get grapple or unify again would be great. Dominate would not be bad either, just destroying cards. Okay, we have okay, so we have unify. We're going to capture one encounter card and destroy another. I think I'll take this, or do we want to try to get more for grapple? I only have 1, 2. Maybe we'll take, it's so hard to say. Maybe we'll take this blue card because we'll be unlocking calculate, and this will be here in our hand. Then we can get rid of another card here. We do have quite a few 4s, so maybe I'll get rid of this 4 card because that won't really work for dominate so much. These are the remaining cards in our hand. Do we have 3 cards in ascending order? No, but I could use this yellow card to reorder some cards, not for dominate, not for grapple, but oh, and it's too late for unify because this card is here. Oh, I almost forgot. We need to fill in this bubble for calculate. So the calculate action is unlocked. If I play one of those cards, okay. And there's there aren't any 5s out. And my only combinations would be 1 and 4 here if I play this to reorder. So unfortunately, the rest of this hand is, oh, hang on. We can get rid of a blue card, like so. And then we can get rid of another blue card, like so. And I just need to fill in 2 bubbles. I guess we'll probably do pinpoint in case we get 2 blues in a row. Okay. And then we're going to second wind to reshuffle and see if we can get rid of these last 3 cards. Oh, that was like honestly a really lucky draw to get unify there, which is great. That really set us up for success. So here we are. We have blue, red, yellow. Hey, we're just gonna take this yellow red card, and then we'll destroy the yellow card here. We can fill out an ability. I guess we'll just fill in diversity. And then if there is no way we can get rid of that red card, I don't know what to tell you. Yes, so here and study will allow us to get rid of this card. And here we can fill in 1 more bubble. We have defeated the shade and our final results. Oh, I have an idea. So playing off of the idea that our partner was taken by this creature, whether literally like converged with it or spiritually, or whether it has like her essence or has her in some alternate dimension, even though we defeated it, we still haven't found her, and we know that they're connected in some way. So our final result is, it seems I have won, but at what cost?
So there you have it. That is a solo playthrough of Shades of Ink. When I first heard about this game, I was immediately drawn in by the title. When I found out it was an RPG game, I thought, story is not really my thing. I'm really there for the mechanics. But, you know, it's a buttonshy game. It's $12. What could go wrong? I really loved the idea of the ink blots and describing them and creating a character who's researching them. My main concern was that with the limit of 18 cards, how could you really make an immersive, replayable experience? In terms of my thoughts after playing the game, I'm going to just start with this. My first playthrough of Shades of Ink, if we're taking out the social aspect of gaming, of course, gaming with friends, I love you all. Hi. That aside, in terms of my enjoyment of the game and my connection to the game purely, this was my favorite gaming experience of 2022 so far. On surface level, reading through, overlapping the cards, getting these little clues, I thought, okay, well, you're just gonna like describe whatever comes up. But the way that the clues come up and the way that you set up your character and your sheet really lends itself to actually telling a cohesive story. And I found that my brain was engaged not only with the puzzle of trying to destroy cards and trying to capture cards and reorder my hand, but the puzzle of how do I make this all cohesive? How do I make it a story? And it really drew me in. I felt completely immersed. I just felt so fulfilled, like emotional at times, going through the journey. In my first playthrough, my character was just like purely curious, a little bit afraid, not really knowing what was happening to them. In my next playthrough, my character became enamored with these ink blots. I lost very early on, but it really fit with the theme of developing a connection with these creatures and just like succumbing to becoming like a part of them. Like, I don't know. It was I did not expect to have such varied storytelling and character development in each of the games, but the progressions of how the cards came up and the imagery just really lend itself to that, I feel. I don't think it's an accident at all that that happened to be the case for my first couple of playthroughs where it was so diverse, but yeah, could be so cohesive throughout a playthrough. My one gripe is that it is a little difficult to get traction. I think for me, that really draws me in because I want to do better. The rewording of the card seems a little bit random, and yes, you can use your second wins to get another shuffle, but without that leftmost hourglass ability where you can reorder your cards, it can be a little bit tricky to find some traction and momentum. So if you're looking for a game that is solvable, winnable, maybe this isn't for you, but the point of Shades of Ink isn't that. It's a game set in an RPG style universe. And for me, like I said, as somebody who's very focused on mechanics, even so, the puzzle of putting together this creative universe really scratched that itch for me, regardless of whether or not I can get a lot of traction or whether I feel like I'm making progress at getting better at the game with each play. It's more about the journey. It's more about the creative process. And like I said, there are very few games that immerse me as deeply and as fulfillingly, emotionally and mentally as this game has in the short amount of time that I've owned it and the many times I have played it. It's one that I'm really looking forward to playing more. It's one that I hope if you have any sort of inkling towards any of the elements that you saw in the playthrough or that I'm describing here, I really urge you to give this one a try and to give it a chance because there's a lot more here than meets the eye at first glance. And that's all the time we have for today. If you enjoyed this video, please feel free to leave a like on the video. It really helps it get out to a wider audience. And I feel, especially with games like these are games that are easily going to fly under the radar. So anything y'all can do to help boost the video, to help more eyes see this amazing masterpiece, and spread the love would be great. You can also subscribe and ring the bell for notifications. And as I mentioned, I am not a huge person in terms of RPGs, solo RPGs. I have a couple more on the way that I'm like really intrigued by now, but y'all are the experts. If you have any that you think I should check out, please let me know down in the comments below. This is a really new, exciting chapter, I feel, of board gaming that I'm really excited to delve into, and this was the perfect entry to it. So appreciate your recommendations and suggestions in advance. Thanks as always for joining me, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Any sort of inkling